Behold the jewel of our solar system, a planet that humans have known for thousands of years, even before the telescope was invented, and a planet that inspired Saturday.
Huh?
Yes, guys, it is Saturn.
Wow.
Where did Saturn get its rings? How big is Saturn? Let's find out in today's video. But before that, like, share, and subscribe to MegaFrancoTV if you want more trivia videos like this one. Alright, let's continue. Hello everybody! I'm Franco Carvalho and welcome to MegaFrancoTV! Saturn is one of the most famous planets, known for its beautiful rings. Wow. Saturn is actually the sixth planet from the Sun and is also the second largest planet of our solar system.
Wow.
About 9 times as wide as Earth.
Huh?
About 700 Earths can fit inside Saturn. Whoa! Even though Saturn is the second largest planet after Jupiter, Saturn is surprisingly the lightest planet of our solar system. Yes, you heard me right, guys. Saturn is so light, guys, that if there is a gigantic ocean larger than Saturn, Saturn would have been able to float in it. Well, that's because Saturn is mostly made up of hydrogen and helium, just like a normal star. That is why Saturn is so light. No wonder. Saturn actually had no true solid surface at all. Just like its neighbor Jupiter, except that Jupiter actually acquired a lot of its mass from the particles from the sun's formation. So that is why Jupiter is heavier. But what's more fascinating about Saturn is because of its gigantic rings orbiting around Saturn. These pretty rings are made up of dust, asteroids, and ice particles just floating around Saturn, making these colorful, gigantic, fascinating rings. And some of these bits of ice and asteroid could be as small as a little tiny dust to as big as a freaking mountain. Yes, guys, you heard me right. Wait, but how do these rings even form? You might think that Saturn got its rings since it was born, but actually, guys, Saturn's rings are younger than you think. About 10 to 100 million years ago, when Saturn did not have any rings at all, Saturn was thought to have an extra moon, and that moon got way too close to Saturn, and Saturn's gravity ripped the moon apart, and all those little bits of moon rocks orbited around Saturn, and thus Saturn's amazing rings are born. Wow, that is amazing, guys. I wonder what would Saturn look like without rings. Well, that would be completely weird. So you might think that Saturn only has one gigantic ring. But what if I tell you that that one gigantic ring is made up of 7 large rings, and those rings are separated by gaps. And all those large rings that you see are made up by even smaller rings. That is why if you look a little bit closer to Saturn's rings, you will see lots of tiny lines, and those lines can vary color between color. I wonder if those tiny rings have even more tiny rings, and if those tiny rings even have even more tiny rings, and if those tiny rings even have even more tiny rings, and all those tiny rings have their own tiny rings. What if it's a shame? And also guys, how can Saturn handle such a large ring? Well, it's actually because of Saturn's small moons. You see, because of the moon's gravity, they basically shape and form those rings. Good job, moons! Speaking of moons, did you know that Saturn has 53 moons? That is crazy! And scientists think that there are 29 more moons waiting to be confirmed. That's a lot of moons.
Wow.
And guys, do you know what is even more crazier? It is that some moons of Saturn have been found to have underground lakes or oceans of water. How crazy is that? That means that there's a possibility of living bacteria existing in Saturn's moons. That is amazing!
Wow.
And guys, did you know that Saturn has been visited by 4 spacecraft? Yep, there are NASA's Pioneer 11, Voyager 1, Voyager 2, and the most popular and recent one, Cassini. Cassini orbited Saturn and gave us information about Saturn for 13 years before falling into Saturn because of low battery. So sad. Well, it's been said that if Cassini crashed into the moons instead, if the moon somehow had living bacteria in it, the environment will be contaminated and the bacteria will surely die. So instead of crashing into Saturn's moons, scientists made the decision to crash into Saturn instead. And also to protect contaminating Saturn's moons who are thought to contain life, to protect those possibly living bacteria in Saturn's moon. Well, that is a bit smart actually. I think we should make another video about Cassini, guys, because the story is both fascinating and emotional. So sad. And here's a fun fact, guys. Did you know that Saturn was named after the Roman god of agriculture? Yes, it's Saturnus, which is also the father of another Roman god, and that's Jupiter. That is interesting. So that's all the facts I know about Saturn right now. So now let's go to the next planet of our solar system, Uranus. Let's go.